We are Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph on the very, very top. So we're jumping in the middle. So just to review a little bit. So we started off with a machloket about Ein Isur Chalal Isur. So the case was somebody is together they do Yibum to their wife's sister, which they're not allowed to do. She was married to the brother died, they do Yibum. So in machloket, are you chayav one or chayav twice? Rabbi Shimon said, you're chayav once, Ein Isur Chalal Isur, whichever Isur came first, that's the one, the second Isur is not chal on it. Rabbi Yossi said, no, you're chayav twice. Okay, that was the basic machloket. Right, Rava learned that Rabbi Yossi says we treated it you're chayav twice, but you don't have to bring actually two chatot. But either way, we see that Rabbi Yossi is a little bit more open to Isur Chalal Isur than Rabbi Shimon. We also were introduced to a couple of things. There's something called Isur Mosif. Isur Mosif is when an item is already Asur, and then another Isur is gonna be Chal for other people. So since that Isur is gonna be Chal on the item for other people, it's gonna be Chal on the item for itself. So for example, this person was Achot Isha, was his wife's sister, right? So he got married. This is his wife's sister. Now, his brother married her, so she becomes Isur Mosif. Now she becomes Asura on all the brothers. Since that Isur of Eshet Ach is Chal on her for the other brothers, it's Chal on this brother also that's already her brother-in-law. Since it's going to be Chal anyways, it's Chal on this guy also. In that case, we would say Isur Chal Isur according to some opinions. Then you have something called Isur Kolel. Isur Kolel is when there's an Isur that's being Chal on other things in this group, it's Chal on this also. So if the lady was first Eshet Ach, she was first the brother's wife, and then the second brother married her sister, now she became Achot Isha. So since when he marries the sister, all of the sisters are Asurot, she's included in that group, the Isur is Chal on her also, it would be Isur Chal Isur. Okay, there's also something that we're going to come across today, that's Isur Bevat Achat. When you have two Isurim happening at the same time, they exactly at the same time the Isurim happen, so then we would say Isur Chal Al Isur according to some. So we're going to get to that now. So the last thing, we still have a little bit more introduction. We spoke about three cases. A case of a Zar Sheshimish B'Shabbat. The Zar did the melacha in the Beit HaMikdash on Shabbat. So there's two issues. One, he's a non-Kohen doing the avodah, and two, he did avodah on Shabbat. So the machloket Rabbi Chia and Bar Kapara. Rabbi Chia said you're chayav twice. Bar Kapara said no, only one. Second case we had a machloket was a Baal Mum that did a Korban Tzibur betum'ah. So Rabbi Chia said you're chayav twice. There's a Baal Mum that did a Korban, and there's a Tameh that did. Bar Kapara said no, you're only chayav once. And the last case we had was a Zar that ate Malika. So he's a non-Kohen that ate from Kochim, and also he's a non-Kohen, he's somebody that he ate Nevela, because for him it's not kosher, because Malika is Nevela. So Rabbi Chia said you're chayav twice in all these cases, and Bar Kapara said you're chayav one. So says the Gemara. So B'mai Kamiflagi, what exactly are Rabbi Chia and Bar Kapara arguing about? Be'isur kolel v'aliv de Rabbi Yossi. So the Gemara wants to suggest they're arguing about whether or not Rabbi Yossi holds of Isur Kolel. Whether Rabbi Yossi will say Isur Chal Isur by Isur Kolel. Rabbi Chia Sava, Rabbi Yossi Isur Kolel Mechayev Tarti. Rabbi Chia says that all these cases, these three cases, are Isur Kolel, and Rabbi Yossi says that you're going to be. Rabbi Chia says that Rabbi Yossi holds you're Chayav double. Rabbi Yossi holds of Isur Kolel. Bar Kapara Savar Lo Mechayev Elachada. Bar Kapara learns that no, this whole thing is according to Rabbi Yossi, and you only chayav one in when it comes to Isur Kolel. So now, how are these cases Isur Kolel? So my Isur Kolel ika hacha. So bishlam Zar, the case of a Zar that did the avodah on Shabbat, a non-Kohen that did the avodah on Shabbat. So meikar ashar b'melacha. So on Friday, he was allowed to do melacha. V'asur ba'avodah, he just wasn't allowed to do the avodah. So there was an isur of zar that was chal on him, but he still had a heter to do other melacha. At yala Shabbat, Shabbat comes, and is chal on him regarding other melachot, since it's chal on him regarding other melachot, it's chal on him regarding these melachot of the Beit HaMikdash also. So migodek hamitzar b'melacha, hamitzar nami b'avodah. Since it's chal on him for the other melachot, and included in melacha is also kolel, it also includes the avodah, so it's chal on avodah as well. So that's how you get to Baal Mum. What's the case? The Baal Mum that was mishamesh betum'ah. He did korban tzibur betum'ah. So how is that an isur kolel? So meikara shari ba'achila. When he was just a Baal Mum, so he was allowed to eat from the korbanot. He just wasn't allowed to do the avodah. Baal Mum is possible to do avodah, but he's allowed to eat from the korbanot. So meikara shari ba'achila v'asur ba'avodah. He's originally allowed to eat before he became tameh. He was a Baal Mum. He was allowed to eat. He just wasn't allowed to do the avodah. At mileh, it mileh. And once he became tameh, now he becomes asur to eat also. So since the isur of tumah is chal regarding eating, so it's also chal regarding the avodah, and therefore that's an isur kolel. Right? So atmile migodek hamitzar ba'achila. Since now he becomes asur ba'achila, the isur is chal regarding other aspects, other isurim. So mitzar nami ba'avodah, isur is chal completely, and it's chal also on the avodah. Therefore, he's chayav double for doing the avodah betum'ah as a Baal Mum. So those you can have cases of isur kolel. Ela milika, but the case of milika, when the Kohen does the milika, when he kills the bird, so it's becoming a nevela and it's becoming kochim at the same time. So ela milika bevat achat hi de mishkachat la, beisur kolel lo mishkachat la. By bevat achat, that you have, meaning you have it that both of the isurim are bringing chal at the same time, but you can't have an isur kolel by the case of milika. So it kind of throws this whole thing out the window. We're suggesting, what are they arguing about? They're arguing about whether or not Rabbi Yossi holds of isur kolel. But this last case cannot fit with isur kolel. Both of the isurim are happening at the same time. Isur kolel is you have one isur that's chal, and the second one that's chal on top of it includes other isurim as well, so it's chal completely. But over here, you don't have that. So the Gemara says, okay, so we have to have a second suggestion. What are they arguing about? So Ella kamiflegi be'isur bevat achat v'alib de Rabbi Yossi. So the Gemara says they're arguing about isur bevat achat, when you have two isurim falling at the exact same time, according to Rabbi Yossi. Would Rabbi Yossi say that they're both chal or not? That's the machloka between Rabbi Chia and Bar Kapara. Rabbi Chia says in all those cases that you're chayav double. He's going to tell you this is all according to Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Yossi holds isur bevat achat. Both of them are chal, and you're chayav double. Bar Kapara will tell you no, you're only chayav one. So Rabbi Chia savar Rabbi Yossi isur bevat achat mechayav tarti. Rabbi Chia will tell you according to Rabbi Yossi you're chayav double when both isurim fall out on the same are chal on the exact same time. Bar Kapara savar lo mechayav elachad. Bar Kapara says no, you're only chayav one according to Rabbi Yossi when both isurim fall at the same time. Now, how can you have both isurim happening at the exact same time? Well, he became a Baal Mum and Tameh at the exact same time. How do you work that out? So v'hacha ma yisur bevat achatika. Well, how do you have yisur bevat achat? So acha zar sheshimesh b'Shabbat. The case of zar sheshimesh b'Shabbat. So how do you have that the isur of a non-kohen and the isur of Shabbat came at the same exact time on this guy? How does that work out? So kegon, listen to what the Gemara suggests. Da'aiti shtei sa'arot b'Shabbat. So this kid was 12 years old. He became 13 years old, and he just grew shtei sa'arot on Shabbat. That was the day that he became chayav now in mitzvot fully. So on that day, he now has the isur of zar, non-kohen, doing the avodah, and Shabbat chal on him at the exact same time. Since those two isurim were chal on him at the exact same time, if he does the avodah, it's chayav double, right? Dahav yeluhu zarut v'Shabbat ba'adei adadi. They both fall at the same time. Okay. Baal Mum nami, the case of Baal Mum, that he was a Baal Mum that became tameh also. Kagon da'iti shtei sa'arot v'it mileh. he begot shtei sarot right at that time. So he was a Baal Mum and Tameh. Once he gets shtei sarot, now the isurim of avodah, of those things, are chal on him. So dehavile Baal Mum v'tumah ba'adei adadi, they all fall on him at the same time. Inami, or another case where he could become a Baal Mum and Tameh at the exact same time, that his finger was cut off with a Tameh knife. So the same time that he became a Baal Mum, he became Tameh. So we're suggesting all of these three cases, both Isurim are being chal at the exact same time. The question is, do we say that when both Isurim happen at the same time, you're chayav double, you're chayav on both of them? That's what Rabbi Chia says. And Bar Kapara says no. But this is all in the world of Rabbi Yossi, who is a little bit more open with saying Isur can be chal on Isur in certain situations. Now, we have to remember, when Rabbi Chia and Bar Kapara had their machloket about these three cases, each one swore. Each one said, I swear I heard from Rebbe like me. Right? Rabbi Chia said, I swear I heard from Rebbe. He said, you're chayav 2. And Bar Kapara said, I swear I heard from Rebbe, you're chayav 1. So
both of them from one Rebbe?
From one Rebbe, yeah. So what we have to deal with now is both of these have to be true. Could be they made some mistake in the case that he was talking about, but it had to be that Rabbi Chia is right. He heard from Rebbe that Rebbe said you're chayav 2, and Bar Kapara also is right. He heard from Rebbe that you're chayav 1. So how are we going to work this out? So says the Gemara, Bishlama le Rebbe Chia, according to Rebbe Chia, that says that you're chayav 2. So ki'atniye, when Rebbe taught him the halacha that you're chayav 2, ledideh alib de Rebbe Yossi. He's going to say, listen, when Rebbe taught me that you're chayav 2, he was talking about according to Rabbi Yossi, who's more open to saying Isur is chal on Isur. But Ki'atni el Bar Kapara alib de Rabbi Shimon. And Rabbi Chia is going to tell you that which he taught Bar Kapara, that Bar Kapara said, I swear, I heard from Rebbe, only one you're chayav. So that was according to Rabbi Shimon. That's what Rabbi Chia will tell you. El Bar Kapara, but what's Bar Kapara going to tell you? Because Bar Kapara is going to say, no. My thing that Rebbe told me was talking about according to Rebbe Yossi. That Rebbe Yossi holds that you're chayav only one. So then, that which Rebbe told Bar Kapara, that which Rebbe told Rebbe Chia that you're chayav 2, who is that going according to? That's Bar Kapara has no way of explaining that. So what? He's going to tell you that Rebbe Chia was lying. So El Bar Kapara Rebbe Chia shikure kameshaker. What? You're going to tell me that he was lying? It is sheker, meaning not shikur like sheker. That's with a chav. This is sheker. So shikur kam sheker, while he was lying, that he just made it up that Rebbe told him to. No, that's not possible. So you can't say that this is their machloket, that they're arguing in the world of Rabbi Yossi, because if that's the case, how is Bar Kapara going to explain why Rebbe Chia says that you're chayav? He says, I swear I heard from Rebbe you're chayav 2. How could that be if Bar Kapara holds it that Rebbe says you're chayav 1? What's the case that you're chayav 2? What was Rebbe talking about? So Ella kamif l'gibi isur b'vat achat. Rather, what are they arguing about? They're arguing about isur b'vat achat. They're arguing about when the isur happens at one time. V'alib de Rabbi Shimon. They're not arguing in the world of Rabbi Yossi anymore. They're not arguing about what Rabbi Yossi holds. They're arguing about what Rabbi Shimon holds. Meaning everybody could agree Rabbi Yossi holds isur is chal on isur. The question is, what does Rabbi Shimon hold? So the Gemara says, okay, just parenthetically, the Gemara asks a question. Bishlama Rabbi Chia, Kamishtaba la fuk de Rabbi Shimon mechazke. It makes sense that Rabbi Chia will swear. Rabbi Chia is coming and saying, I swear it's 2. So it makes sense why he needs to swear, because Rabbi Shimon generally is more lenient when it comes to Ein Isur Chal Isur, and Rabbi Shimon says that there's really never an Isur that's going to be Chal on another Isur. So we would assume that he would hold there's only one. So in order to show that in this case where they fall at the same time, he holds 2, he makes a swear to make it more dramatic, to make it more real, that even Rabbi Shimon, he holds 2. Because you're taking Rabbi Shimon out of what he generally holds, and you're saying that he holds 2 over here, even though generally he would hold there's only one Isur. So El Bar Kapara Lama Leili Ishtabuye. But according to Bar Kapara, that anyways Rabbi Shimon always holds Ein Isur Chalal Isur. So you're telling me over here he also holds Ein Isur Chalal Isur. There's not that much of a chidush. You don't need to swear. So the Gemara says Kasha. Okay, that's a good question, but we're willing to live with it. But either way, again, so we're suggesting that the machloket between Bar Kapara and Rabbi Chia is a machloket. What does Rabbi Shimon hold when you have two Yisurim Chal at the same time? Right? Bar Kapara will tell you Rabbi Shimon holds when you have two Yisurim Chal at the same time, you're still only chayav one of them. Rabbi Chia will tell you that when Rabbi Shimon that Rabbi Shimon holds when you have two Yisurim being Chal at the same time, you're chayav both. That's the machloket of these three cases of a zar that did the avodah on Shabbat, or someone who did a kohen who brought a korban tzibur when he was a baal mum and tameh, or a zar who ate the milika. They're all in the world of Rabbi Shimon, who generally holds ein isur chalal isur, but these yisurim are happening at the same time. Rabbi Chia says both are chal in such a situation according to Rabbi Shimon. Bar Kapara says no, both are not chal, only one. So the Gemara continues. The Gemara says, Bishlama le Bar Kapara. According to Bar Kapara, Ki adnei Rebbe ledideh alib de Rabbi Shimon, Ki adnei Rebbe Chia alib de Rebbe Yosef. So according to Bar Kapara, you can work out both statements. Meaning we know Rebbe Chia says, I swear, Rebbe said you're chayav 2. Bar Kapara said, I swear, Rebbe says you're chayav 1. So according to Bar Kapara, both of those things could be true. He says, when Rebbe said to me that you're chayav 2, this was talking about in the world. When Rebbe said to me that you're chayav 1, this was talking about in the world of Rebbe Shimon. When Rebbe taught Rebbe Chia, you're chayav 2, that was talking about according to Rebbe Yossi. Rebbe Chia made a mistake and he thought it's talking about according to Rebbe Shimon. But it's true what he heard from Rebbe, that you're chayav 2. That was according to Rebbe Yossi. He made a mistake again. Rebbe Chia is the one that made a mistake. Ella le Rebbe Chia, but according to Rebbe Chia, that he believes that when Rebbe said, I swear you're chayav 2, that was according to Rebbe Shimon. So when Rebbe said to Bar Kapara, you're chayav 1, who was that going according to? That can't be according to Rebbe Yossi, because Rebbe Yossi is more, if Rebbe Shimon holds you're chayav 2, for sure Rebbe Yossi holds you're chayav 2. So who would that be going according to? So Bar Kapara, Shikur Kameshaker, well, you're going to tell me Bar Kapara is lying? He just made up that Rebbe, he said, I swear that Rebbe told me 1, you're chayav only 1. Well, why would he that's not a possibility. So the question is on Rebbe Chia. How is Rebbe Chia going to learn the statement that Rebbe told Bar Kapara? Rebbe told Bar Kapara, you're chayav only 1. What case was that talking about? Because Rebbe Chia himself learns that when Rebbe told him you're chayav 2, that was talking about a case where, according to Rebbe Shimon, you're chayav 2. So when he was talking to Bar Kapara, what was he saying? So Amar Lecha Rebbe Chia is going to tell you that when Rebbe told me, he was talking about two Yisurim falling at the same time, according to Rebbe Shimon. But Ki atnia Rebbe ledideh, when Rebbe was talking to Bar Kapara and he told him, you're chayav 1, so tarti liftor atnia, he was talking about those two cases, just the first two cases, to poter from the first two cases, the case of Zar that did the malacha, that did the avodah on Shabbat, and the case of a Baal Mum that brought a korban tzibur betum'ah, ve'isur kolel atnia, and Rebbe was talking about isur kolel, meaning Rebbe was saying, ve'aliv de Rebbe Shimon, Rebbe was saying that in isur kolel, according to Rebbe Shimon, we don't say, Rebbe Shimon doesn't hold of isur kolel, and you're only chayav 1, and he was only talking about those two cases. He wasn't talking about isur bevat achat, meaning the person who made a mistake here, according to Rebbe Chia, he's going to tell you the person who made a mistake here is Bar Kapara. Rebbe was really teaching, and Rebbe taught that Rebbe Shimon does not hold of Isur Kolel, and therefore when you have a Zar that did the Avodah on Shabbat, or when you have a Baal Mum that did the brought a korban tzibur betuma, you don't have two isurim here. You only have one because ein isur chalal isur, even though it's an isur kolel, ein isur chalal isur, according to Rabbi Shimon. That's what Rebbe really taught Bar Kapara. V'chazia lebar kapara lezar she'achal milika, and Bar Kapara saw this third case of a zar that ate from the milika. V'aydi dedami aleh arva bahadaihu, and he put this case together with the other two. So Bar Kapara heard correct from Rebbe, but he made a mistake. He put this case in also. And then once he had these three cases together, when he was reviewing it and looking into it, he saw that the only common denominator of these cases by Yisur Chalal Yisur is Bevat Achad. You can make them all happen at the same time. V'savar medaha Bevat Achad, hanami Bevat Achad. And he held that since this case is Bevat Achad, so the other cases also are talking about Yisur Bevat Achad. So he made a mistake and he understood right, that when he thought that Rebbe's statement was talking about Isur Bevat Achat, according to Rabbi Shimon. Umidahanach liftor, hanach nami liftor. And from the fact that the first two cases, Rebbe taught him that there's no Isur Chalal Isur, there's only one Isur. So in this scenario also, he thought there's only one Isur. So maybe we'll stop here. I don't want to go too much further. But basically what comes out is like this, that we're left with Rebbe and Rebbe Chia and Bar Kapara having a machloket. So the machloket is Rebbe Chia. Let's start with Bar Kapara. Bar Kapara says that you're chayav, according to Rabbi Shimon, you're chayav only one when you have two Yisurim falling at the same time. And Rebbe, that which he taught Rebbe Chia, that you're chayav two, that was according to Rebbe Yossi. Rebbe Chia will tell you that you're chayav two according to Bar Kapara when both Yisurim fall at the same time. Rebbe Chia will tell you you're chayav two according to Rebbe Shimon when both Yisurim fall at the same time. That which Rebbe taught Bar Kapara, you're chayav one, that was talking about Isur Kolel. And Rebbe Bar Kapara made a mistake and he thought it was talking about Isur Bevat Achad. He thought it was talking about Isur happening at the same time, but really it was talking about Isur Kolel. Okay, so we'll stop here. We're by Meitive on the top of...
You came early.
I'm going to give him a moment.